Ballerina Army is a poem I wrote once. Pretty cool, huh? Book of Ingenious Devices describes the original music box as an organ of cylinders powered by water. Soon after, the pinned barrel mounted in a clockmaster's clock began to make music with bells. Placing pins in surface holes provided a programmable experience. The pinned drum in a watch played tunes on steel prongs arranged in an upright manner. La Chaux de Fonds invented a boîte à us et à u chantiere, a rectangular box concealing an automaton bird below an oval lid activated by a lever. Over time, the automaton looked and sounded more and more like a real bird. Is that not something to wonder about with our wandering eyes? Combs with notes saved space, produced complex sounds. Produce sounds more complex than sounds bells make. Discs of musical watches operated steel teeth. St. Croix's production of music boxes surpassed its production of watches and lace. Curious and curiouser, Hans. Is it not in the context of, I don't know, like Gifts of the Magi being an essential text to analyze when it comes to our commodification of goods and the carbon footprint that has caused over time? Of automata, there came a golden age. Edison invented the phonograph. The Regina Music Box Company put wind in Gustave Brachhausen's sails. In the face of war and depression, the St. Croix industry returned to watchmaking, dreamed up movie cameras and typewriters, including the Hermes. The original model of which a blind countess's friend designed to help her communicate with loved ones. You know, like you type a letter to your friend or your whoever your loved one is, and then you can like send it in the whatever the mail is at the time that you're writing the letter. Post-Napoleonic War called music boxes carillons a musicae. Carillons a musicae. Musicae. Like, take your mystique away. Take your mistakes away. Like, this whole ingenious devices is to fine-tune, like, the electromagnetic spectrum, like in the context of the butterfly effect from the iron butterfly typewriter that maybe was designed in a manner that made the letters that the folks were typing and the ink spill outwardly so much that certain folks, I mean, it could have affected our the reach of our arms, you know, in the context of like a race to arms, to have allies in your genetic DNA makeup that can help you survive when you're hashtag fighting, fawning, and freezing. This is a note to like, I don't know, my friend Jordan Hart, who has context for what I'm going through, as well as perhaps to a mentor of mine, Robert Wrigley, who's familiar with this poem and once called it a showstopper. So if Robert were here, I might say, is the show over, As in, should I push stop and stop making a recording in the context of my, I don't know, my right to exercise my First Amendment right of free speech in order to read a poem that I might or might not post on my YouTube channel as hashtag Quantum Mechanical Mama, who I guess the jury is out as Pandora about whether I deserve to be believed that I'm experiencing homelessness and could use some food and shelter instead of occupying someone else's space that they might want back for themselves, something like that. Or, if there were a photophone in the context of the photophone invented for similar reasons that the Hermes might have been invented, then I might get old Audrey Hepburn or even Alexander Graham Bell himself and his partner on and talk about domestic partnerships during very complex and nuanced situations where you're starving for unconditional love and are not sure how to go about healing from your original trauma that might be interfering with your ability to achieve said love. Something like that. But yes, I was meant like in the context of Greek Renaissance theater with or without the troupe from a distance. Whether they're in Shanghai Gallery or elsewhere. But, I do have a little bit of problems with the mechanics of this contraption, and that is why I have called this text, well, not this version of it, but in the past I have called a collection of poetry I've written an undertaking more difficult than it might seem, which is a reference to trying to disassemble a ballerina music box, we'll say. Keep it simple. There's a lot to decode in here if you're interested, particularly in the context of etymology and grammar and mechanics, and the way that it could be very easy to misinterpret history at large, let alone the nuances and complexities of being a conductor of the electromagnetic spectrum and helping to remember folks to follow a rule I learned in second grade called the Golden Rule. Something. XOXO, okay. From Quantum Mechanical Mama and Mars and Venus. A nymph riding a seahorse, okay. To tear through the fabric of space and time.